Think about your latest pitch presentation. Have you watched your judge's face light up during your pitch? Neither had I until that day when we pitched our game-changing idea in the company-wide innovation contest. I told you the story in part 1. Well, long story short, we had 10 teams, the stakes were high, and we had 7 minutes each, and most presenters drowning their innovations in data tsunamis while executives checked email. You get the picture. And our pitch changed the game. Our technology was not better, but the way we presented our technology changed everything. And because of that, we won the 5-figure prize money. And we were able to conduct the proof of concept of our idea. You're nodding because you have been there. You probably have had some presentations, but that knot in your stomach before presenting, yes. The fear that your brilliant science will get lost in translation, the voice whispering, just show the data and get off the stage. Well, I have felt that too. It's like being fluent in a language nobody else in the room speaks. When our turn came, we didn't start with methods or specifications. Instead, we told a story about frustrated scientists, failed batches, and patients waiting. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Phones went down. Questions became strategic. We won the first prize not because our science was superior, but because our story made our impact unforgettable. In the next several minutes, I'll reveal exactly how we crafted that powerful pitch and how you can do the same. Let's begin. Every compelling story follows a 3-act structure that's been powerful since ancient times. This isn't just artistic tradition, it's how our brains naturally process information. Act 1 introduces the character and their world. Act 2 presents the conflict that needs solving, and Act 3 shows how the solution transforms everything. Let me show you this structure in action with perhaps the greatest product launch of all time. Steve Jobs unveiling the iPhone in 2007. Jobs began with Act 1, setting the stage. He said, "This is the day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years." He established anticipation and context by reminding us of Apple's history of revolutionary products, the Macintosh that changed the computer industry, and the iPod that transformed music. Then came Act 2, the problem. Jobs implied the problem existed in the fragmented, confusing world of separate devices that consumers struggled with. This created tension the audience wanted resolved. For Act 3, the resolution, Jobs delivered that unforgettable moment. He said, "We are introducing 3 revolutionary products. A widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communication device." He paused, repeated the list, then delivered the punchline. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device, and we are calling it, ta-da, the iPhone. Notice what Jobs didn't do. He didn't start with technical specifications. He didn't begin with the development process. He created a narrative that built tension and then resolved it brilliantly. For scientific presentations, this translates beautifully. Instead of diving into methods and technical details first, like how brilliant your mass spec is, nobody really cares. Sorry to say that, but it's true. Start with the human impact. Who benefits from your work and how? Then clearly define the problem or unmet need. The villain of your story. Finally, present your solution as the transformative hero supported by focused, relevant data. This structure works because it follows our brain's natural information processing patterns. It creates tension that seeks resolution. It builds from context to solution, not solution to context. And it positions your data as support for a compelling narrative not as the narrative itself. Think about it. What's the last presentation that truly captivated you? I bet it followed this structure, perhaps unconsciously. The presenter likely started with why the work matters before explaining how it works. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that you have to numb down and simplify or oversimplify science, not at all. But it's just the way you tell your story and the way you present your game-changing technology to other people. Building on this 3-act foundation, Donald Miller's StoryBrand framework provides a powerful 7-element structure that's particularly effective for scientific communication. I have been using this framework successfully for many years now in keynotes, in pitches, in technical presentations, and more. And I've also been teaching this to a lot of brilliant scientists to improve their pitches. And you know what? It consistently helps transform complex scientific concepts into compelling narratives that resonate with diverse audiences. In this story framework, we first have a character, which can be the patient, the healthcare system, or a company facing a limitation. Then they encounter a problem, could be the current technical or medical or business limitation that's causing pain. Then they meet a guide. Your innovation or approach, not necessarily you personally. This guide gives them a plan, which means how your solution works, aka the science, but simplified so they can understand. The guide then calls them to action, for instance, the decision or support you need, and this helps them avoid failure, which could be the consequences of maintaining the status quo or not having the funding you need. And finally, it ends in success, a data-supported vision of improved outcomes. Do you see how simple this StoryBrand structure is and how it could be easily applied to any kind of scientific presentation? Notice how this differs from conventional scientific presentations. Traditional presentations often position the researcher as the hero overcoming obstacles. But in effective storytelling, your audience is the hero. For instance, your investor or your boss, your management, or whoever you're speaking to, this person or they are the hero of your story. Your innovation is merely the guide helping them succeed. This subtle shift makes your presentation instantly more engaging because it centers their needs, not your accomplishments. This isn't about manipulating your audience. It's about respecting how human minds process information. Even the most analytical brain responds better to structured narrative than to random data points. Now, let's get practical. What about those high-stakes situations when you have just 3 to 5 minutes with decision makers? This is where the minimal viable pitch becomes essential. This streamlined approach uses the same StoryBrand elements. We've just discussed the same 7 elements, but boils everything down to the strict minimum. The goal is to be simple, but not simplistic. I know it's a fine line. I don't ask you to get rid of the science. Be simple, but not simplistic. You could go as extreme as just putting 1 sentence for each element. Let's see how this could play out. We start out with the character. For instance, commercial manufacturing engineers struggle with batch failures costing $2 million monthly. See, commercial manufacturing engineers struggle with batch failures costing $2 million monthly. What is the problem? Well, the current monitoring system can't detect critical quality shifts until it's too late. Then comes our guide. Our real-time PAT platform uses novel spectroscopy to detect changes 4 hours earlier. Now, what's the plan? Integration takes just 4 weeks with our plug-and-play system. Then comes the call to action. Approve the $100,000 pilot in Plan 3 next quarter. What is the failure if we don't do that? Without this, we'll continue losing 30% of batches to quality deviations. How does success look like? With implementation, batch failures drop by 70%, saving $1.5 million monthly. The key principles here are starting with the need in mind. Did you see how simple that is? Did I water down science? Not at all. But I'm sure you can remember what I've just said. And chances are that you say, oh yeah, I understand the problem. Actually, we need to find the money so we can approve that 100,000 pilot in Plan 3. To make this very effective, I suggest that you use one slide for each of the 7 elements. So you use just one key message per slide, and your data should support your narrative. So you can put some data. I mean, you can add some additional information, obviously, on the slide if you have time to actually talk about it. But your data should not be your narrative. And technical details, if you have a lot of technical details, they belong in the appendix, because sometimes you can submit additional slides for people to study or follow-up material. So do that and focus only on the most essential information in your slide deck. Do you see how powerful this framework is? Because this isn't about oversimplifying complex science. No, don't oversimplify. Not at all. It's about prioritizing what matters most to your specific audience in your limited time slot. Okay, I know what you're now thinking. Well, David, okay, that works fine for your topic, but my topic is too complex for storytelling. Actually, more complex topics need stronger narratives, not weaker ones. Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winner in physics, explained quantum mechanics through stories about spinning tops and everyday objects. He didn't simplify the science. He made it accessible. Or perhaps you're thinking, my boss expects technical presentations. That's a common challenge. What is the solution? Well, layer technical details within a narrative framework. Use appendix slides for deeper dives after establishing relevance. And often, leadership appreciates this approach because it makes their decision-making process clearer. Are you short on time? Well, start with just the opening 2 minutes. Hook them first and try this template. Currently, the stakeholders are struggling with the problem, costing, put in the consequence, and our solution addresses this by you tell the approach, resulting in what kind of benefits. That opener alone can transform how your audience receives everything that follows. How do you know if your scientific storytelling is actually working? Look for engaged body language during your presentations. Notice if questions focus on implications and next steps rather than basic clarifications. And pay attention to whether people accurately relay your key points to others. And track if you're invited to present to broader audiences. That's often a sign that you present well and people understand what you're saying. But the real measure is simple. Did you move your audience to action? Did you get the funding? Did you get the resources you asked for? Did you get the equipment you needed? Remember, brilliant science that no one understands remains just unrealized potential. Your ideas deserve better. By structuring them as compelling stories, you're not compromising scientific integrity. You're ensuring your science has the impact it deserves. You're staring at your laptop screen now, aren't you? Rehearsing that upcoming presentation in your mind, wondering if your slides have too much data or too little context. Maybe you're thinking, I just need to show my results. That's what matters. I understand completely. When you're racing against deadlines, mastering storytelling feels like one more impossible task on your already overflowing plate. But remember what science teaches us. When we present information as a story, our audience's brains release dopamine that improves focus and memory. They produce oxytocin that builds trust and connection, and they experience endorphins that create positive associations with your ideas. This isn't just presentation theory, it's neuroscience. Your brain is literally wired to respond to stories. And so are the brains of every decision maker, of every investor and colleague you present to. You've spent years becoming an expert in your field. You've designed elegant experiments and solved complex problems. Telling your story effectively isn't betraying your science. It's ensuring it reaches the people who need it most. Your research deserves more than a footnote in a journal. It deserves to change lives. And now, you know exactly how to make that happen. Do you need help with an upcoming presentation? Well, book a free 20-minute consultation at brühlmannconsulting.com and we'll help you get started crafting a compelling scientific story that will resonate with your audience. Whether it's for your next team update, executive briefing, or investor pitch. No obligation, just practical guidance to make your next presentation unforgettable. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please let us know what you think about this by leaving a review on the platform you found us on, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right, smart scientists. That's all for today on the Smart Biotech Scientist podcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on your journey to bioprocess mastery. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. By doing so, we can empower more scientists like you. For additional bioprocessing tips, visit us at smartbiotechscientist.com. Stay tuned for more inspiring biotech insights in our next episode. Until then, let's continue to smarten up biotech.